Mayor Truman.
Here.
Councilmember Colbert.
Here.
Councilmember Wilson.
Here.
Councilmember Bass.
Here.
Councilmember Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Gregory. Here. Councilmember Kerstetter.
Here.
Councilmember Evans.
Here.
Councilmember Stamp.
Here. Don't stand for the invocation and the pledge of allegiance.
Would you bow your heads and pray with me? Dear Heavenly Father, we are grateful for the men and the women that are here tonight to serve our city, to give their perspective, their wisdom, God, and we just pray that we'd be able to follow you. And Father, we just ask for a sense of unity in this room and within the city, God, and pray that you would give us discernment and wisdom as we move forward to better this community and to honor you in the process. Father, as Easter is coming up, we pray that the good news of the gospel will not just be something that we hear, that it would change us, God, change how we treat others, how we act, and how we follow you. Father, we love you, and we ask all of these things in the undefeated name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Thank you. Moving on to approval of the agenda tonight. Tonight's agenda.
Motion to approve agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify for raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay, moving on to the approval of the minutes for April 1st meeting.
Move to approve the minutes of the April 1st, 2025 regular council meeting as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of April 1st meeting. Any further discussion or changes? All in favor of the motion, signify for raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to the presentations and proclamations. Insurance guides.
Good evening. I'm Marcia Torman with the Insurance Guys, and this year's 24-25 KMU Safety Group. Your dividend from that program this year is $18,121.31. So it's bigger than last year, so we're real happy about that. And thank you all for the visits. We appreciate it. And we want to take care of our town. That's all I got.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item B, Public Service Recognition Week. I have a proclamation. In honor of the millions of public employees at federal, state, county, and city levels, whereas Americans are served every single day by the public servants at federal, state, county, and city levels, the unsung heroes do the work that keeps our nation working. Their tireless efforts are especially critical today. And whereas the public employees take not only jobs but oaths, whereas many public servants, including military personnel, police officers, firefighters, border patrol officers, embassy employees, healthcare professionals, and others, risk their lives each day in the service of people of the United States and around the world. And whereas public servants, including teachers, doctors, scientists, train conductors, astronauts, nurses, and safety inspectors, laborers, computer techs, social workers, and countless other occupations, day in and day out, they provide the diverse services demanded by the American people of their government with efficiency and integrity. Without these public servants at every level, continuity would be impossible in a democracy that regularly changes its leaders and elected officials. Therefore, I, James Truman, Mayor of Valley Center, Kansas, do hereby announce and proclaim to all citizens and set seal hereto to recognize May the 10th, 2025 is Public Service Recognition Week. All citizens are encouraged to recognize the accomplishments and contributions of government employees at all levels, federal, state, county, and city. That's probably the best one of these I read. Okay. Moving on to public forum. Is there anyone here that'd like to address the council on any item that's not on the agenda? Guess not. Okay. Moving on to the appointments. I have two appointments to the Planning Board and Zoning Board of Appointments. Do we, I do these both at the same time or just one at a time? Okay. Want to reappoint Gary Jansen.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve Gary Jansen to the board, Planning Zone Board. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say for raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. And Scott Phillips, reappoint him.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve Scott Phillips. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say for raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign, motion carried. Old business, ordinance number 1422-25, rezoning of 135 North Ash.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is the second reading of this rezone. It was approved by Planning and Zoning, and then the first reading came to the last council meeting. I just wanted to reiterate, this is going from R1B to R4. The reason that they're asking for R4 specifically is they want to build two duplexes on this property. R2 zoning requires that the width of the property for a duplex be 70 feet. This parcel is 130 feet wide, so it's, 125 feet wide. And so it's 15 feet too narrow to have two duplexes. The R4 designation allows it to have two duplexes because then it requires 50-foot width for a duplex. So that's one of the reasons they're seeking the R4 instead of R2. Also with this, R4 is a little different in that it allows for shorter setbacks to give them more space to build on. It's for high density. And just to let you know, the current lot, because it's a corner lot, has a 25-foot setback. However, because it's a corner lot, one side could be 20 feet. The R4 reduces it to 15 feet. So it's only a 5-foot difference than what would be currently allowed in R1B or R2. I don't know if you have any other questions for me. The applicant is not here this evening, but I would recommend that you approve this evening, but otherwise I stand for questions.
Dale?
Question regarding like sidewalks. That's not going to affect any potential sidewalks going in that area because that's going straight to Main Street from there.
Correct. And I believe there's sidewalk on the
I think there is on
side.
Ash, but not on First. But I might be wrong on
the
that.
sidewalks generally go closer to the property line. I don't know if we have a standard for how far back they go, but the 15-foot setback is off the property line. So if there was a sidewalk in the front, we would have room if it was on their property. Otherwise, we do have the road right of way to potentially put that sidewalk in as well. I would defer to Rodney and Brent as to whether we would prefer it to be in the road right of way or on private property. But I believe that there would be room for a future sidewalk if there's not sidewalk there.
Most generally, sidewalks are in the road right away.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And one rule of thumb, sometimes, I mean, it's not always exactly accurate, but if you look at your driveways, you'll have the approach, you'll have the first sidewalk cut, and then the back sidewalk cut. A lot of times that back sidewalk cut is the back of the right of way.
And did I read in the memo correct? This is for Mr. Fiedler. Did I read in there that it's 2 duplexes with garages?
Correct. He stated in his presentation that he wanted to do two duplexes. Both of them would be 2-story with single car garages. They would have to have 1.5 parking spaces per duplex. So with the single car garage, we basically, when we go through, when they submit their plans for review, we'd have to make sure that they have the correct amount of parking for all 4 units. So 4 units would require 6 off-street parking spaces.
I'm not typically in favor of multifamily, but there's one right across the street and right there next to downtown. You're going to see me vote for one today. Write it down.
And I did look real quick on just Google Maps, and it looks like there is sidewalk on both sides, on Ash and on First. Now, how usable it is, I'm not sure if it's broken up handles, but I mean, it does appear there is sidewalk on both sides.
We asked last time, or we were talking about this process. This building will not come back before us, but before, if we approve the rezoning, the approval for that building would not come back to us, correct?
That is correct. With single family and duplexes, those are just staff review. And so they won't even this one.
I'm hesitant on this because I would like to see more eyes on it as far as the setbacks. If they follow the rules, that doesn't necessarily mean that there's not going to be some visual impairment as for that intersection. And I don't like it that we don't have, it doesn't have to go back, if it's just staff review, it doesn't have to go back before planning and zoning to get approval.
The concern about visual, it will still, even though it won't go through site plan with planning and zoning, it will still have to meet the vision triangle. So that's one of the things that staff ensures that it meets the vision triangle requirements when we do the review.
That was the concern that I had with this. I think with the width of Ash and that's where they were planning on the driveways being, I think there's enough access there. There's not an issue. I worry about placement on the lot, and if staff review is good enough for that, then I'm fine with it.
Clint?
I voted no on this on the first reading. I didn't really specify why. We just denied one 3 blocks up. I mean, I know that this is on the outskirts of the neighborhood, but it's still within the neighborhood. That one was not even R4, and we denied that one. So I feel like we're picking winners and losers here. We're denying one and then approving another. And this one's even more densely populated. Off-street parking, we're close to Main Street. We have the vents down there all the time. Even on a busy Saturday night, people are parking along there. So I'm not okay with single car parking garage. That we told the last person that we denied, part of the reason was he was doing single and he's going to come back with double. So I feel like if we vote yes tonight, we're picking winners and losers, and that's not what I'm here for. So there's other concerns too, but those are the big ones. And I think this should be a no vote.
Robert?
Yeah, I'm gonna go along exactly with what Mr. Bass just said. I feel like we just denied one of these on what was a larger lot by 25 feet in width, same depth, but again, 4 driveways on a much narrower lot. And so I also am not in agreements with moving forward with this recommendation for R4.
Matt?
I kind of agree with both those councilmen, although I am happy to see a dilapidated house go away because that thing looks like it should have went away years ago. But I'm a little concerned about the parking. I think it's just like they said, the parking on the street was concerned with the other people, and I don't see what's going to be different here. So that's my thoughts.
And I guess just to address the parking concern, the applicant did speak on that last time as well, that they want these to face Ash and not First, so that they don't have 4 driveways backing up to each other with the fourplex across the way. They thought orienting it facing Ash and the driveways going on to Ash, that not having other driveways across the road would make it a little bit better for parking, that they're not having to worry about cars on both sides with houses on both sides.
Dale?
I understand Mr. Bass and Mr. Wilson on the not approving the one on Birch. The problem with Birch was the street was too narrow. Ash is what, 50, 60 feet wide in this section? Or at least it is on the north side of First Street. That's where I'm coming from on this one. If it was 30 feet like Birch was, I'd have a different opinion on that. That's
Robert?
Yeah, Dale, you and I are taking the opposites turns of events tonight because usually it's you preaching about how we already have plenty of multifamily, and I think we do. I think with our new division up on 93rd and Meridian that's coming in, our division down here off of 4th Street, we have got plenty of multifamily living. And so I also think about parking for when we have events downtown. If you're going to put 4 residences in there with cars, you're going to be taking up spots for when we have events happening down off of Main Street. And so that's another reason why I'm not in favor tonight.
Clint?
Yeah, I was just going to add, I feel like I'm in the twilight zone. I've consistently preached about having multiple layers of housing, but man, exactly what Robert said. So, I mean, we've got plenty of single family housing currently and going future. I'd love to see a single family house on that property, especially that close to downtown. I'm less worried about the width. And as we heard from, neighbors of the last one we denied, it was not just the width, it was just all the cars that are inevitably going to be parking right there close to our downtown. So I'm in the twilight zone, Dale.
hey, that's all right.
Ben?
After looking at this lot, I don't have a problem rezoning it to R2, but to make an exception to make this R4, just so they can squeeze more in, I don't have a problem with them being multifamily at all. But I don't know that it's a good practice to make an exception where we're just trying to squeeze more housing in. I don't have a problem if they put a duplex there, if they were able to put 2, if it fit in the parameters, but that wasn't the intent of why we started R4. That was for entire neighborhoods for me, and not to shoehorn it in an existing old neighborhood. I would be fine doing R2, but I'm not in favor of R4.
Yeah.
The two directly south, 129, 125, those are single family, correct?
That is correct.
All right. That's all.
Gina?
I did vote for this last time, but I'm still uneasy with the R4, and I agree with Ben. R2 seems to make more sense to me. I think I'm going to have to join the naysayers this time.
Any other questions or comments? I have a motion to approve.
No, I think I just changed my mind. R2, I think is a better idea.
Move to approve for second reading ordinance 1422-25, which rezones property located at 135 North Ash Avenue from R1B to R4 for second reading.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 1422-25, rezone 135 North Ash. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion did not carry. Item B, request for funding for Valley Center Historical Society.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. We have been discussing this for the past 2 weeks. We have $20,000 allocated for community development. Of that, here's the funds that are still available. We have $6,700 allocated for billboards and other advertising for our housing divisions. We have $5,000 allocated for Fall Festival. We have $5,000 allocated for PBS, and we have possibly $800 available if Kyle's team decides next year not to do the home show. So after speaking with Brett and some discussions on this, our recommendation to you would be, if you choose to contribute this year, we think $1,500 from the $6,700 for advertising and $1,500 from the PBS fund would be our suggestion for a total of $3,000. However, this is your decision. I'll be happy to answer your questions. If you'd like to hear from the Historical Society as well, that's fine also.
We're gonna hear from you folks. Yeah.
Thank you, council. Appreciate you letting us be here. So we've started getting quotes on the windows, and my idea that $1,000 a window turned out to be an adorable thought, but very wrong. And they're coming back in about $1,800-ish a window, but of course, you know, everything's got a caveat of what finish do we want on things and what we choose. So we are currently working on the belief that if we can fundraise at $2,000 a window and planning kind of rounding up to 25, even though we've got 24 windows, so $50,000 is what we're shooting for to raise. I've actually got, my board is waiting for me right now, and we'll be discussing, you know, what do we start? Do we start something now? Do we just need to stabilize this year and then work and do all 24 at one time? But that's what we're starting to work on fundraising, is about 50,000. So anything we get will go towards either stabilizing where we're at, like fixing any wood rot that we know of right now, or fixing some storm windows to hold things in place until we're able to actually do the windows. So if you approve this, we would very much appreciate that. That's going to go a long way to help us get some things at least stabilized this year.
Ben?
Have you guys talked with Builders First Source? Is that one of the places you've looked for windows?
We had not started there. I didn't
Okay.
think they did installation. We started with, we've got All States, All Seasons, and Honeydew Homes have come in and done the first pass here. We called Dingers, but they don't do windows.
Yeah.
And so I hadn't thought about Builders First. I didn't understand that they did the installations.
I don't know that they necessarily do the installation, but it might be worth talking with them
Okay.
because they might have installers that you can hire.
Okay.
But I think with as much investment as they put in Valley Center, it'd be worth talking with them, letting them know what you've got going on.
Definitely add them to our list of things. We were just trying to get some rough numbers to start with. We know that at least one of the companies has, they proposed that they would be able to help us lower those costs if we were willing to help advertise. I mean, we didn't have to offer that. They started with that. So we're hoping to get it lower, but we're starting work on a 5-year plan right now of what is the work we need to do and fundraise for that accordingly. So anything we would save through all of that process, whether it's through Builders First or advertising, will definitely put towards other home maintenance projects.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt?
I have a friend that works for a window company in town. I'm not going to say the name of the company, but I can reach out to them because they're kind of looking sometimes to donate stuff.
Okay,
And
yes.
do this. Email me your contact information,
Okay.
and I will talk with them this week and see if I can get something
Great.
for you guys.
I will do. Thank you.
Ron?
The only question I got is, you mentioned the windows. Are you talking about the upstairs windows?
All windows, all 24. We have 24 around the entire house. Upstairs, downstairs that's how we get to 24. And so right now we've got storm windows on everything, plus the windows themselves. And some of the windows, we've got one window when you come in the house, you can actually see all of the pulley system inside of it because we've got pieces gone. So we've got to fix everything. We're just trying to figure out which level we can get by with here at first.
Do you have anything listed other than the windows that could be repaired or helped with?
That's what we're working on tonight. Actually, I left them with homework while I came down here. So they've all got lists of what are the things you notice that are broken? What do you want? What should we fix? What should we improve? And so they're working on that until I get back. And so that's the 5-year plan we're trying to work on and get things done as we can.
Chris?
I was just going to say, Mr. Miller, I appreciate you taking the time to look at what we could try to put together. As I know during the last meeting, I mentioned, can we pull a little off of here and a little off of here? So I was just going to say that I'm all for this donation tonight.
Gina?
And I was going to say, we've already committed to $5,000 to PBS. And I think it would be wrong to cut that at this point. Maybe we can lower it next year and do a bigger contribution to the Historical Society or whatever. But I do think that we should honor the commitment that we made.
Valid point.
Dale?
I see your valid point. I would rather see the money go locally though.
Ben?
Clint, is that money just budgeted, or have we committed to that yet? Because that's two different things to me. If we put it in a budget, that's one thing, but if we haven't.
The 20,000 is budgeted. Of that, we spent a couple $1,000, 2,500. I don't have the exact number that I had last time, but we did have some home show expenses, and then you guys also allocated, was it $2,200?
22.
So essentially around $2,500 of that has been spent. What I gave you earlier tonight was the allocated remaining portion of the 2025 budget that is not yet spent.
But for PBS specifically, that has been allocated, but not, we have not, has that agreement been made this year with them?
No, and so we put that in the budget last year for this year, and then so Victor comes and presents a recommendation. Of course, they always ask for more than what we provide. I think with every organization, besides Main Street, I think Main Street kind of knows it's allocated, budgeted for, and so we had just placed the budget item for PBS that whole amount at 5,000. Not that we're guaranteed or we've locked that in. But for that dollar amount is then what we get in return for the commercials, the production of the commercial, and then the number of times that commercial is actually seen. And so that's what that $5,000 is allocated towards. I know years ago, I think in 2019, maybe 2020, I can't remember, it was a lower amount than 5,000. We've increased that because we have seen the success, and we've heard from our residents and your constituents that they watch PBS. They see a lot of the commercials, the mayor's spot, and then various commercials that they've produced for us as well. So, that's just a recommended amount and what we had budgeted, but that has not been guaranteed or allocated to PBS.
Matt?
I kind of agree with Gina and Dale. I'd rather keep that money local. I know PBS does good things, but we haven't promised them a check yet. We haven't seen them. So I'd be fine with just giving them 3,000 and taking 2,000 of it and adding to this. That's my thoughts.
Chris?
What's all involved? I don't recall from the last meeting. What's all involved with the advertisement that we're looking at getting for that $6,700?
So it was budgeted for primarily for housing promotions. We're specifically looking at billboards. No billboards, no contracts have been made yet. So looking at some of the billboards that are nearby that are static, that would just be our billboard. The lowest one on 135 is about $1,300 a month. There are some digital billboards closer to Wichita and closer to Newton that are a little bit cheaper, but they rotate, so you don't always get constant impressions. There is one other company that I'm trying to get a hold of that has billboards, but I don't know what their pricing is yet. So, but that's when it looks at the cost of a billboard, it eats it up very quickly unless you enter to a really long-term contract.
Thank you.
Ben?
Kind of a off-topic question.
What's happening with that $18,000 dividend that we just got tonight? And how much did we get last year? Is that spoken for? Is that something that goes into what fund?
Yep, typically that goes back into the property and casualty insurance line item to kind of help with budgetary.
Okay.
So we usually factor in the revenue on that side. Not saying that it can't be used for that. We definitely, reallocate and look at funds and look at the general fund on where we're at total. I mean, 3,000 is not going to, break the city financially. And so if you're looking at, trying to find ways to, trim costs in an area to help the historical society, and then look at, as we come into the budget season, putting them as a budgetary item, and looking to, reallocate funds and other line items, we can definitely do that. So, we also did have, some revenues that were unexpected from some easement that we were able to sell for a new pipeline that's going in. On the 4th Street property that we have just south of the detention pond. That area, we received, I think, about $13,000 of funds available that we could also reallocate. We haven't brought back yet to you all, but I know that the oil company did give us for an oil easement in that area. So there are some funds that we could put towards this as well.
Motion to approve 2025 donation to Valley Center Historical Society in the amount of $3,000.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the request of $3,000 to the Valley Center Historical Society. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for all
Thank
your work.
you. Okay, moving on to new business, request for sign waiver for the Valley Center Swim Club.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Christina House. I'm the Secretary of the Valley Center Swim Club, representing Janet tonight. We are requesting permission to put 9 signs around town in the easement for 2 weeks prior to our recruitment event, which is Pizza Hut on April 27th.
Have any questions, comments?
Move to approve to waive the placement in public right-of-way of sign regulations for the Valley Center Purple Wave Swim Club for 2 weeks prior to April 27th.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the waiver for the Valley Center Swim Club. Any further discussion? Matt?
Will staff be notified not to pull these signs? Thank you.
Okay, all in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Moving on to request for sign waiver for Valley Center Chamber garage sales.
Good evening. I would like to request the right-of-way waiver for the garage sale signs starting next Thursday to Sunday at noon. Citywide garage sales will be next week, 24th, 25th, and 26th.
Any questions or comments?
Move to approve to waive the placement in public right-of-way of sign regulations for the Valley Center Chamber of Commerce spring garage sales, April 24th through the 27th. April 27th.
Have a motion and a second to approve the request for waiver for the Chamber of Commerce. Any further discussion? Sam? Matt?
Same question. Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Moving on to the approval of the Hornet Hustle Race.
Hello.
Hi.
Mr. Mayor. I'm Sam Clubb, the Hornet Hustle Committee. I believe you guys have my maps on your presentation here. Here to request use of the road for our 5K and 2 mile race on September 6th. for the Hornet Hustle. The race itself benefits Abilene or the elementary school PTOs, including the intermediate school. And so I talked to Chief Newman already, and he's agreed with the routes, same as last year and the last actually 4 years. So we're pretty familiar with it, and so is he. He leads the race for us and gives us some crossing protection on the major thoroughfares. No streets are blocked, so it's just intermittent stopping of cars for us and getting the kids through safely. Thank you. Yes. No?
Motion to approve the staff assistance needed for Hornet Hustle on September 6th.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the Hornet Hustle race. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor of the motion, say for raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Acceptance of the award for the vehicle purchase for seniors and disabled individuals.
Good evening, City Council members. I am Charlene Portia Washington, Senior Services Coordinator for the City of Valley Center. I am requesting that you approve a grant that I was awarded for a paratransit bus for this for the senior center. The grant was $107,678, and the required local match from the city would be $19,200.60. So basically, I submitted an application to WAMPO, submitted a cover letter and application. I had to provide a public notice in the paper, and this application was submitted January 24th of this year. The bus would be a paratransit bus or a 15-passenger, kind of like a mini bus, and it would be used to take seniors to and from activities that are planned by myself. I would basically be the person driving the bus. Previously, I drove for First Student, so I have 5 years experience driving. The bus does not require a CDL to drive it. And what else did I want to mention? Do you have any questions?
Dale?
Sorry?
You answered a couple of my questions.
Okay.
The vehicle, it's a ADA compliant minibus. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Is it? I'm not familiar with any of this stuff. So you said 15 passenger.
Yes.
How big are these?
If you could compare it to, if you've ever seen any of the minibuses from the school district, Valley
Okay.
Center, yes.
So, okay. All right.
So that's how large it is.
All right.
Ron?
First of all, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
You're doing an excellent job.
I appreciate that.
Now I say that. I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
When you put in for the request for the bus,
Yes.
do you have to give a number of drivers that you're going to use in that location?
Yes.
For the bus to be parked, can you run down through that?
So there would be one driver, myself. The bus would be stored at Public Works. Maintenance is on the city. We are required to do any maintenance. I'm sorry, what else did you ask?
That's okay.
Okay.
The other question I got is, you put on your application about
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. I put on my application what?
on the application for the
Mm-hmm.
money and that, you put on there that this would be also taking people to events, scheduled events of downtown Wichita.
Yeah, downtown Wichita, day trips to other nearby cities. It's basically whatever I plan and the city, the seniors are willing to participate in.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Will there be a fee for the citizens to use this bus?
No.
Then also, do you see down the future probably hiring a driver? Because you're probably pretty busy doing the senior center, and I see this being almost a full-time job eventually for somebody.
Usually when we have activities, I plan what works best for me so I can also attend the activities. So, a lot of times we have to carpool, and that is a deterrent for some of my members to participate in because, it may be an evening event where we went to see a play, and they weren't able to attend, so they would just not go. So I think I don't honestly think it would be necessary to hire a driver because, like I said, I usually plan the events around my availability and when I'm able to attend as well. Sorry if I was rambling at first. Sorry.
That's fine. I had one other question. Now I forgot it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, I know the question. I better I'll forget again.
Go ahead.
Will there be a deadline, like 24 hours notice to them call to need a ride, or?
Say what?
And so I think what a little clarification here.
Okay.
And so this will be a bus used for events that are scheduled out for the entire senior center. So these are not for daily trips for our seniors, for medical trips, for doctor's appointments, for grocery store. This is a different type of transportation. And so what this grant is for is more for Charlene and the senior center to use them for group activities that are scheduled through the senior center.
Okay.
Now, at some point, can we, expand that operations and potentially hire a full-time driver or part-time driver and have like the Derby Dash or the Hayesville Hustle,
right?
Or one of those? Yes. That could potentially be expanded on with this. It depends upon federal grants. Right now there's a little bit of turmoil happening. I'm not sure if anyone knows. But so that could lead into that potential reduction in funds. And so that's why we thought it was really important to get this taken care of first for the senior center as a whole for group activities versus daily transport. So just wanted to clarify that. Charlene's done a
Thank
great
you.
job.
I appreciate your assistance.
Chris.
I was just curious, do we have the funds or where the funds going to be come from to be able to match this?
We stole it from
I've not dug real deep into that question yet, but we do have a vehicle fleet fund that is healthy. We did pull a number of vehicles last year into the 2024 budget season, so I think we're probably going to be pretty well on that. But when you have an opportunity like this where over 80% of the funds are going to be there, my answer to you is I'm going to find a way to get that $19,000 that we need for this.
I like it.
Ben?
And just to clarify, the city will not own this, correct? Is it owned by, or is it owned by the city?
And so what tonight before you is just the accepting of the award, and then all those details will come in the contract agreements that we sign for the purchase of the vehicle. But yes, typically, depending upon what pool of funds are used, I didn't realize that Wichita actually takes care of the sport WAMPO. And so it might be a little different than what I'm used to with federal funds. So I don't want to misspeak on that matter.
All right. And thank you very much, Charlene, for your work on this and continued work for the seniors.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Any questions?
Make a motion.
Go for it.
Make a motion to accept award and approval of matching funds to purchase vehicle in the amount of $19,002.60.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the matching funds to purchase a vehicle in the amount of $19,202.60. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign, motion carried. Moving on to ordinance number 1423-25, the annex of 8.68 acres at 85th and Hoover.
All right, good evening again, Mayor and Council. This is coming back before you. You already approved a resolution to send this to Sedgwick County. Sedgwick County had their hearing 2 weeks ago where they did approve allowing Valley Center to island annex this parcel of land. It's just under 9 acres. The applicant is here, and if you have any questions for her this evening, she can answer those. But they came to the city requesting island annexation. They have some ideas for this property that go beyond the rural residential that it currently is. Any of those items, right now you're looking at the annexation. We don't currently plan to serve this property with sewer, water, and they're aware of that. They would have city trash service if annexed. They will have city police response, and they currently, I believe, actually have Valley Center fire response, so that would not change. If they get annexed, anything they want to do beyond just building rural residential property would have to come back before planning and zoning. So if they wanted to plat, if they wanted to change the zoning, any of those types of things would have to come back before planning and zoning. All of the neighbors would be made aware of that by notification in the mail, and it would be published in the Ark Valley News for any hearings for things like that. At the Sedgwick County hearing was no public comment, and it was unanimous vote by the county commissioners. And I will stand for any questions you might have. But again, the applicant is here if you have questions for her as well.
Robert.
Kyle, you mentioned many services there. I did not hear anything about road maintenance. Is road maintenance going to be involved with this?
The county will continue to maintain 85th.
Okay, thank you.
Dale.
Just want a clarification on this process. The property owners, were they notified of this meeting tonight?
The surrounding.
Yes.
No. For the annexation, that's not required.
Okay.
I've had multiple calls from property owners. I think Brent maybe has as well. I know the county did. And so I've talked with several people. I think there might be some of them here this evening.
I've gotten at least one email.
It does not require notification. Annexation does not require notification, but anything beyond current use has to go through planning and zoning.
Right. Next question I have is, if say it is not approved, what happens?
If the council does not approve island annexation, it would just remain in the county.
Okay. And another question. We've been getting a lot of annexation requests. Is there any criteria that you go through to just when you receive a request?
So typically with an annexation, if it is touching city borders,
that makes it easy.
It makes it easy. We don't have to go through the island. So this property is unique because it's an island, and so we had to go to the county first. Essentially, on an island annexation, the county has to consider whether or not it's going to affect another city. So in the instance here, this is not in anyone else's growth area. It's not affecting the county as far as services that are provided. And so that's they had those criteria they had to look at. For us, it's can we provide services? So if, for police and fire, is it going to be detrimental to our department to service property? It's within a third of a mile of current city limits. Again, we won't be currently providing water or sewer to the property. in the future maybe could be an option, but I don't believe that's in the plans at this point in time. And then they would be on city trash, and they would also pay stormwater fees.
I guess my question is really, do we have any, or maybe we should think about having a criteria on a minimum acreage of island annexation? Like I'm drawing a blank on the exact, it's like 85th, not 81st, no, 77th and that new
West Street.
Thank you. 77th West Street. That was like a 30, 40 acre area that we island annexed and they're building houses on. I was just thinking about this since the last time that we talked about this and sent it to the county, that I'm now hesitant on because of the size of the property. That's all I got.
I just got my 2 cents also. I wish that instead of a tenth of that property, that whole 80 would have been asked to be annexed into Valley Center. That would have made more sense. But I know we don't control that, and I kind of agree with these little piecemeal things. Doesn't make much sense to me, but that's why I don't get to vote, I guess. We've got some public people that want to address the council. So we got 6 of them here. So I would like you to hold your comments to 3 minutes. And 3. That's a long time if you want to talk. Well, I'm going to go by the order I got them here, Carrick. Is that all right? I think it's Grace Fur. Oh, okay. Carrick, come up. State your name and address, sir.
Hello there. My name's Carrick Opat. I'm also known around here as Opie. I run a sprinkler company. Address 5009 West 85th Street North. I am the small, skinny with the house and the barn just to the right up there. That's my property. Moved here 9 years ago to that property. I've been Valley Center for 30 years, raised our kids, 3 of them. We've had 3 foreign exchange students. They love Valley Center. They love the schools. I do not see what possible reason to annex that as an island. I don't see any benefits. I don't see Valley Center having benefits with the police have to, when they have to go out there. I'll be County. At the very end of that, where it's a little notch, that's where we have a shooting range back there. A lot of friends, a lot of neighbors that have been annexed into the city. They come over, Wichita Police Department, they come out. They have some officers. We come out and do some shooting. I'm all for the building of houses. I'm all for it. You have young families, their savings, everything that they've done. The 3 lots right there to the west of me, they're building right now. Their dreams. Did they dream we're going to have a venue and duplexes? I don't think so. We've had 9 years of nice sunsets, deer coming out and drinking out of my bubbly rock that I have out front. During the wintertime, I thought I had a leak in my bubbly rock out front. 15 gallons of water about every 3 days. Dumping it out with a bucket. What in the world's going on? Then one night we look outside. 2 deer out there drinking out of my bubbly rock. A couple nights later, this is during the cold, everything's frozen. A couple nights later, we got a picture. 5 deer lined up out there like they're, kids at a drinking fountain after recess. I don't want to ruin that. Putting in duplexes will ruin that. Many years ago, I was on the police department up in Lynchburg. A lot of our police calls were apartments, duplexes, close together houses. Most of them are not just flat homeowners. If you had a regular homeowner house, responses were low. duplexes that are high. You're close together. It doesn't matter who you are, family, or if you're foes of each other. I don't think it's a good idea. And I don't see what benefit Valley Center will get in crushing dreams of these people that bought these other lots. Jet, Mayor, you know what the property was like when I bought it. How many years ago? 10? 8?
Yes.
And we took it from being a junkyard. My place was a junkyard. Every one of you have driven past my house. I got the American flag every day. And that's the way I feel. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrew Collins. Your name and address, please.
Council, staff, thanks for hearing me out here. So we actually own the property just to the west of this land right here. And we bought it thinking that we're planning on building a single family home here, hopefully starting in the next month or so. We'll be reaching out to start that. But we bought it with the idea that it will be a tranquil, nice, peaceful area that's going to have just single family home. That's kind of what we were even sold on when we bought the land of, hey, here's what's planned to be used for. Here's what we were told other buyers were going to use it for. And this is what we got. And then now we hear and find out actually in the newspaper that we're trying to get duplexes or event venues here. I don't want that traffic. I don't want the late nights on the weekends. I mean, that's not what I want to raise my kids in. I grew up in Valley Center myself too. And I want my kids to have the same experience. We lived out in the country like this. And that's what I wanted. I would have lived in the city if I wanted that. I wouldn't have bought the land. So I just ask you to respect kind of like, that's what it was for. That's why I was in the city, the county. And I agree. I don't see any reason why you annex this other than, to be honest, a cash grab of I want to go sell more land or go make more money from it, not to actually respect the community as a whole. So I ask you, keep the community as it is, which is single family homes, and not approve the annexation. Thank you.
Thank you. Nathan Collins. Please state your name and address, please.
Hi, I'm Nathan Collins. My address is 521 Deerfield Circle. So I live right inside of town right now. We did also buy the 5 acres with intention of having kind of a tranquil rural area to eventually build on. While I'm not one of the lucky folks that are going to build anytime soon, that is the future plan. It's not for turning it into any sort of investment property. And so my concern is that this island annex is really just to circumvent Sedgwick County's rules on rural residential and not be able to rezone it with Sedgwick County. I've already talked to the district, the guy that's in charge of the district. I think his name's Ryan Batty. And he said, essentially, there's nothing that we can do about the annex on his side. He said, this is a done deal. We'll approve it if they ask for it. But whenever I called the city of Valley Center and I was said, hey, a lot of us are opposed to this, I was also told, well, you may not be able to stop the annex, but whenever it comes to rezoning, I think you have a case for it was rural residential. It should stay rural residential to maintain the value of the area as what it is. So that is why I would say I'm in opposition of the island annex, as well as all the other reasons already stated. So thank you.
Thank you. Aaron Lindstrom. State your name and address too, please.
Good evening, Council. My name's Aaron Lindstrom. Address is 1055 North Meadow Road. Similar to Nathan, right now I live in the city of Valley Center. I've grown up in the city of Valley Center. As with many people in the city of Valley Center, you always dream of living on land in the city of Valley Center. But as we all know, they're not making any more of it. So when these properties came up for sale, as the same with sounds like everybody, it was somewhat sold, which I know has nothing to do with the annexation, but it was sold as single family, larger plots for just getting more space, getting outside of the city limits while still being able to obviously enjoy the amenities of the city. I have obviously a lot of the personal feelings that all of the neighbors also have, but looking at it just from the city side, I also don't necessarily see the benefits for the city. Again, I've spoke with Commissioner Beatty as well. He said the same thing to me, is that they really don't have anything. It's more of if it will affect the city negatively, which obviously it depends on who you ask, I suppose, on how that looks. But as of right now, I feel like there would be no benefit for the city to annex it in this way, just because you're literally doing the island annex. So you're picking out one plot to give certain benefits and take certain things away from the people around them. So again, the zoning obviously all happens afterwards. I think all of us would just prefer that this kind of stops before we have to deal with all that to, just allow everything to go as planned, that the entire community that is sold and has started building houses feels that way. So, thank you.
Thank you. Grace, did you want to talk?
We currently live at 4457 North San Juan Street. We're in a duplex. We sold our home of 35 years because we have 7 grandchildren. We had a small backyard. We've looked for land in this area for years. Our son and daughter-in-law and our 3 grandsons are in the school here. And we find this land that was affordable, and we thought the expectation and what we were told it would be single-family homes. And we didn't sign up. We've just put our slab in. It's not like we can bail out now. But I don't want a lot of ruckus and noise. I was a professional photographer for weddings for 25 years and events, and they get loud. And I don't want to have to feel like I have to call the police all the time for a lot of racket and noise. And it just happens. It's part of it. And that's just not what I want for us or our family. My husband works at Textron. He's up at 3:30 in the morning and has to be to work early. We need our sleep. And it just doesn't take very much wind to carry a lot of noise to the rest of the neighborhood that you're going to hear during the night and late into the evening. And we just did not buy this land under the assumption that that would happen. So it's a little heartbreaking and a little concerning because it's rural and we kind of just want to keep it where it's nice and quiet. That's what we were told it was going to be. So, and I think if we wouldn't have started building, we would consider bailing if that's what's going to happen, but we can't now. And you have this dream we've had our whole life, and Jesus has made that happen. But I don't want to be living under that kind of circumstance.
Thank you. Property owners are here. Do they have anything to say?
Hi, City Council. So in the beginning, we were thinking of.
Yeah, I need your name and address, please.
Oh, Ida Lopez, and address is 85th and Hoover. I'm not sure what the number is. We're talking about the property right there, the island. In the beginning, we were sort of thinking about doing duplexes, but we have totally moved that around. We want to do more like a homestead family compound, just her home, my mom, and myself. And then if we were to put anything in the front, that would be an event center. And I'm also a faith believer. So it would not be around parties or anything like that. When I say event center, that would be more like for youth. I have children myself. I'm very involved in the community in Wichita with women, with single mothers, and with the youth. So our heart is to have like a little event center for the youth to come in, for those that are entrepreneurs that are wanting to do like podcasting or something that kind of keep them, engaged, but not like wild parties or anything like that. It would just be like an event center, kind of like a rec center. That's what we're thinking. And a coffee shop where we can go sit down and read, or as a single mother, go sit down and read and have our kids there doing something inside where they're safe. But however, she is wanting to build a home, and then I am wanting to build a home towards the back too. It would be more like a family compound, homestead area. That's what we're thinking.
Thank you. Any questions of council? Motion to approve. Oh, Ben.
I just have a comment about this. I agree with Dale and Mayor about this. If we were annexing a larger portion of this, or that entire north property or the south property, it just doesn't make any sense to me to do an island annexation when down the road we're not looking at annexing any properties surrounding it that are, the folks that spoke tonight that are surrounding it are not looking to be annexed in. They have no reason to be annexed in. If this was a larger portion, before it was split and divided and sold, possibly, but I just don't think this fits with what the city needs going forward and what the island annexation was meant for, to me. So I'm not voting for this tonight.
If I may, Mayor, my understanding of Sedgwick County Code is correct. This property could currently be subdivided into 4 2-acre tracts. So 4 houses could potentially be on it currently. When they went to the county's actually recommended coming to us because they were potentially wanting to subdivide into smaller parcels. Our code allows as low as 1 acre without public water. So they could, if they intended to subdivide it into smaller lots, whether it's for family or not, at this point in time, we're considering just the annexation. We're not considering what if they want to subdivide it, if they want to change the zoning, that's planning and zoning at a later point in time. But if they are wanting to subdivide it so each family member can own their property, they can only subdivide 4 times currently. If they have more family members, they'd have to subdivide it into smaller parcels. And that's one of the reasons that they're seeking the island annexation. They have been upfront, though, that they have maybe some other uses for some part of the property. But right now, they are requesting annexation to the city so that they can then subdivide or potentially do something else with the property. But that comes up with planning and zoning at a later date.
Ben?
Kyle, what did you say that they could, how many, if it stays in the county, they could subdivide the 8.68 into what?
If I understand the county regulations correctly, they can go to 2-acre lots. So they can do 4 lots.
I don't see any reason that we need to be involved in this. If they're going to try to split it to put another home on, I'm not in favor of putting any kind of a venue out there. It does not fit it's not in a commercial area. I know there's other venues in the county, and they're on larger properties where they have some seclusion and are able to have parking. And I just don't think that we need to be involved if on the base, just on the base of it, it does not fit what we need to be annexing for. Not even going forward with what could be done with it. They can accomplish what they want to accomplish in the county, leaving it the way it is, and that could go through the channels, and their neighbors then can. I mean, I just don't think it's a good idea for us to get involved.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. And so, a little history. So this parcel, of course, was a larger acreage. What happens is, you have developers, nowadays that are looking for exactly, these types of properties that are larger acreages, right adjacent to or real close to the city limits. And then they subdivide them up. So they buy it, for X dollar amount per acre, and they subdivide it up, and then they sell it to individuals, for then their own, acreage that they can build a home on. The problem that comes into that is then when it comes to what those property owners want to do with the property that they purchased, and there's no HOA, there's no covenants, there's no guidelines as far as what the city has to do with, but then it falls underneath of our kind of area of influence, and then somewhat our comprehensive development plan, our strategic plan, and then, of course, the developer, after they sell the ground, they're audited. And so whatever they sold these property owners, they're done. And then we're, tasked with then handling the property owners that then purchase the property to then potentially deem whatever they feel right or necessary to do with their own property. Then we have to kind of untangle the web and that they weaved, and then we take care of this. And so this is not an uncommon situation that has occurred around Valley Center, especially as of late. I call Bob White Estates or whatever that one is. Those will be coming with the same thing here shortly, I'm sure, where people then purchase these larger lots, and then they themselves, potentially want to subdivide it and then build, their own family compound or those types of things. But I preface it with this area is, an area that is extremely close to our corporate limits. This is an area that what we're looking at tonight, just tonight, is solely the annexation. And so we're not looking future down the road at what potentially we could receive when it comes to the application. Your job tonight is just looking at the island annexation that was requested by the property owner of that lot now today. And so all their stuff down the road is, what the public meetings are for. We've been through this before recently with the large area off of Ridge Road and 77th and 85th Street over there. And so no different, just a smaller parcel that the property owner has requested to be island annexation or island annexed. Now, of course, we just went through our comp plan. I'm sure that our community development director, Mr. Fiedler here, will agree with me that these areas are slated to be in Valley Center at some point in time. And so at some point in time, this area will be in the corporate limits of Valley Center. We just don't know when that is. And so we tried to plan ahead of time for what could potentially be on these properties. And so just want to preface kind of your decision tonight in that regard, that tonight your task before you is looking at the island annexation in itself and nothing further as we proceed forward down this process. I'll stay for any questions.
Dale?
I'm going to repeat what I said earlier. My whole problem is the size of the property now. I know I voted for it to send it to the county, and I have changed my mind. I think we need to come up with a criteria of a minimum acreage for future annexation. So that's why I'm voting against it.
Yeah.
I'm going to make my third comment about this, and what Brent spoke about eventually it's going to be in the corporate limits, probably. But to me, I just don't like us piecemealing island annexations in here and there. If we were to take, the entire property in the future, that's different. Once we expand to the west, I don't like this island annexation at all.
Any other comments? Get a motion?
I want to say one quick
Oh.
thing. I guess my thoughts are that what they're wanting to accomplish, if I'm understanding correctly, can still be done with the county. If they're trying to break it up into two houses and then something up front, wouldn't that still be within there if you said 2 acres per?
So, as mentioned tonight, sounds like 2 houses maybe, but they originally went to the county, and the county referred them to us because I think there's a potential that they want to subdivide into 1 acre lots.
Okay.
And so if they aren't annexed, they don't have that option. If they are annexed, they do have that as a potential. That does not mean that that's what they will submit for their plat. But like I said, right now they could submit for 2 acre parcels in the county. I believe that they would like the opportunity, and please tell me if I'm speaking wrong, they would like the opportunity to subdivide to smaller than 2 acres, which county does not allow, City of Valley Center does allow. So if they wanted to build 6 homes, potentially 8, if there was enough room to get a road in there, that would be allowed in Valley Center. The homes south of 81st Street, a lot of those are around 1 acre parcels, maybe 2 acres. So it's different than the ones surrounding it immediately, but within a half mile, there's homes that are on 1 acre. And that's 1 to 2 acres, I should say.
Any other questions or comments? Can I get a motion?
Move to approve first reading of ordinance 1423-25, island annexing approximately 8.68 acres southeast of 85th and Hoover intersection.
I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 1423-25 for first reading. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion did not carry. Moving on to item F. Approval of the mowing service bid.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. This evening, I'm here to present the findings for the 2 RFPs that we put out, one for contract mowing, and the second one I know we'll get to here in a second. But This evening, I wanted to mention that in this RFP, our process for adding contract mowing to our what we do is very helpful in the fact that we're looking, and as we've mentioned in previous council meetings, we're looking to try to reduce the amount of time that staff spends on the contract mowing and to put them to work in other areas that are more beneficial or definitely save the city more money and don't where we might contract those services out otherwise and bring those back in-house and kind of trade one for the other. Contract and mowing seems to save us some money, bringing staff back in and helping to alleviate some higher cost type services. So what we're here to request is the approval of the low bidder from Cut Rates Lawn and Care for the amount of $68,200, and ask the mayor and council to sign all necessary documents. Then for any questions.
Dale?
Okay, in one section you've got Cut Rates Lawn Service, another section you've got Cut Rates Lawn and Care. Is it the same company? Okay, next question I have is on page 42, you have it as $107,960, and then the approval you want $68,200. Why the difference? That's a $39,000 difference.
The reason for the difference is the way we approach this. We put out all of our properties in the parks specifically. We do have a combination of public works properties, and that's not all inclusive of what we put out in the bid, but all the parks ones we did. And what we do there is to cast a wide net, see what comes back, and see what we can live within in our budget. So we can't, obviously, we want to maintain some properties that we're going to continue to mow. The ones that make the most financial sense, we're going to put out for a contract. So get the best deal, basically.
Okay,
so that's the reason for that.
In that 68,000, and I'm probably read over and I apologize.
Okay.
Which properties are included? Is it in the map
There
section?
are 15 properties in this. The properties that will be included would be, and some of these won't make a whole lot of sense because they're just general locations.
So tell me how many, so 15 out of how many total that we submitted?
We had 17 on the list that we had.
On the list, so there.
But that's not all inclusive of everything we have in the city.
Okay. Okay, so in the agenda is the 15 properties that's in the, okay, all right. And then this is per year, correct?
Yes.
So that pays for one person's salary basically with all the benefits, roughly. Okay. And then they can go do something else. Okay.
Any other questions? I get a motion?
Recommend acceptance of bid for 2025 mowing services from Cut Rates Lawn Services and authorize $68,200 for selected specific properties.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the mowing services bid.
Hey, Mayor, if we have a quick discussion real quick.
Okay.
All right, sorry, to clarify on that, yes, it does pay for one person, full-time, give or take. I mean, we're about the same. However, we don't have just one person that mows all of these properties. And so I wanted to kind of clarify that we have more than just one person that mows each property. And so just to clarify that. And then also too, in the packet is all the properties that were bid on, not just the ones selected. And so, Neil has that exact list of the ones that were selected, and the ones that were not were the more expensive ones, McLaughlin, the water tower, a couple of those that were, ones that we could take care of. And so the ones in the packet is a total $107,000, but the ones that we selected are basically all of them minus those three, which is McLaughlin, there's two of them, and then the water tower. So just wanted to point of clarification prior to the vote and answer any questions that you might have after those comments. Okay.
Questions?
I think this is going to save us money, in the long run. There's no doubt about that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to the approval bid for turf, tree, and vegetation management services.
Again, Mayor and Council, this is a bid tabulation for contract services for our turf, tree, and vegetation management services, which is fertilizing, weed control, tree spraying, those types of things. The low bidder for this one was Dragonfly Lawn and Tree. The low bid amount was $25,020.75 that we're requesting approval for this evening.
I didn't see who was first. Matt?
And you check with them because their bid is, whoo, they know what they're getting into or their job. I mean, is it, wow.
This particular group has been doing Valley Center for quite a few years. They're very familiar with our properties.
Okay.
They know exactly what they're getting into.
Okay.
We've been basing our annual budgets off of what we've been working with these guys on. So this is very consistent with what we've been paying.
But they're a good bid. The other ones were trying to, I won't use the word, yes.
Robert? Oh, it's Clint. Excuse me.
Matt, he stole my question. So yeah, that gives me a lot more confidence. I appreciate it.
Any other questions? Ben?
I just have one comment. I think this is even more important for us not to do in-house unless it became cost prohibitive, but having to store, apply chemicals, have the safety equipment and the equipment itself, there's a lot of specialized equipment that comes with this, and to sub it out to someone who has that and then can move on to do other jobs, it would cost us way more in the long run to keep that equipment serviced, and as specialized as this is, and the dangers of applying, storing and where all that has to be, this is a no-brainer. So that's all I have.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the bid 2025 turf, tree, and vegetation management services from Dragon Lawn and Tree Care in an amount of $25,020.75.
Second. I have a motion and a second to approve the bid for tree, turf, and vegetation management services. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to staff reports. We got Kyle.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. I gave to all of you before the meeting a handout from advertising the Sedgwick County floodplain mapping public comment or public information open house. I mentioned it to you a few meetings ago, but it is next Monday and Tuesday. Monday's meeting is both meetings are actually from 2 to 6:30 p.m. Monday's meeting is at Sedgwick County Public Works, which is on South Seneca, and Tuesday's meeting is at Bentley City Hall. I plan to attend at least one of those meetings to make sure that Valley Center voice is heard. We've done a lot of work to ensure that our floodplain is hoping to be reduced. The maps as they've been drafted are not taking out as much as I think they should. And so I'm going to make sure I get some clarification on why that is. And it might be because of it being the way it's classified, they might keep it in the floodplain, but our elevation certificates are enough for them. But I want to get some clarification on why they have not removed it, because I've been trying for 2 or 3 months as we've been going back and forth to get them to take it off the map. And so far they have not. So I will figure out why and report that back to you. The other thing, and I don't mean to steal Councilmember Gregory's thunder if she was planning on saying this, but we will not see you before the first farmers market this year. Or again until the first farmers market, which is May 1st, and it is from 4 to 7:30 p.m. They, just as a reminder, they are the first and third Thursdays from May through September. Except for September, we only have the market on the first Thursday because of Fall Fest. that's all I have. I'll stand for any questions.
Commissioner Dale?
Farmers market, are you going to put it on social media?
Yes, we've been Main Street. I'm pointing to Chris. Main Street. We'll get it posted. We have, I believe, a farmers market page, Main Street page, and then the city page.
Yeah, so it's already.
I know the social media guy will do it, but
Any questions? Thank you, Kyle. Bill?
Evening again, Mayor and members of council. Just wanted to report on, and we're very proud of this, tree planting is done on Meridian for the time being. So we got that was a lot of work. I think the last tree planting that they did was one hole that was just filled with tree roots, and it was horrible. We actually had to get the backhoe out to get that last one in. And so kudos to my crew for pushing through. Also, the repair that was mentioned last week, when we were planning some of those, we'd hit a line with the electrical that has been repaired as of today. So, barring a switch being turned back on, they should have the lights back on. So, the other thing I wanted to mention is the library's big event tonight. I don't know if you were planning on talking about this or not, but I will mention it since it's happening at Lions Park. Saturday the 19th. It is been posted on social media. It is from 1 to 3 on Saturday. Sponsored by the Lions Club and the library. They're going to be giving away free books, doing face painting. Breezy's is going to be there. They're going to have cotton candy, Easter egg hunt, big event for the community, always a big turnout. Fire meeting, some vehicles there as well. So, just wanted to throw that out there. Stand for any questions.
Gina.
Yes. Now that you've got all the trees planted, who maintains those?
So we have been watering them initially, and we'll continue to do that maybe one or more times. But we have sent out a letter to the residents. Mr. Stewart emailed one that has initial care responsibilities for the property owners. We're asking them, we're just giving them some guidelines, asking them for their assistance, and we will be around to kind of monitor and make sure that we are seeing that they're being maintained. And if we do need to step in, to make sure that they survive that critical first 2 years there, we're going to step in and water a tree there just to make sure we don't lose it. If there's a property down there that may be a rental or something like that. But we have sent those letters out to the residents asking for their support and assistance to kind of keep those maintained. We'll come back around and we'll collect the watering bags after a couple of years and the T-post and remove all that stuff later on. Usually we give those about a year to 2 years, depending on how well and quickly they establish.
Anything else? Thank you, Neil. Lloyd's not here. Rodney?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. So a quick update on the Meridians project. They've been working really hard. They've got a lot of the sidewalk done down the west side there. They have the driveway south of the bank poured there that lines up with Ford, so they've got that poured in. They have the Nest Street approach is poured and ready, and they have dirt crews coming in tomorrow to try to backfill sidewalk. The storm sewer is finished, and they will be continuing with sidewalk and drives headed south, and then they're going to try to come back and get more overseeding on the north section done next week. They've got on 3rd Street, they've got all the base in, they've got the first asphalt lift. I apologize, I don't have the exact schedule. I'm hoping they will be back in the next day or two to put that final lift on. And they've got all of ash milled, which that's a whole lot of surface to mill off. They've got it all done, so they'll be ready to lay that asphalt. We did on that break, we had a training session with PS&E on the mill bank. And they also went through on where to go for our locator to hook up so we can go back and start locating that electric down through Meridian in the future.
Yeah.
On the roundabout, how is that on schedule? At 69th and Meridian?
Yes, I would say yes.
That's all I wanted to hear.
They're hitting it really hard.
Yeah,
They'd love to get it done.
Yeah, I had to schedule that. Nice.
Any other questions? Thank you, Rodney.
Thank you.
There we go.
Just give a quick update on the Seneca Street. We haven't talked about it quite some time since you guys approved the design contracts. Finished preliminary plans, went through that with city staff, kind of got everybody's input. I saw Christie send permit forms to her the other day to get those submitted to DWR, for the bridge crossings and Smith Street. Next steps, finalizing plans, getting through the agency reviews, looking at final plans and bidding end of summer-ish to get that finally off. So just wanted to mention that.
Okay. Just so we don't have overlap. Robert.
Real quick, Mr. Chair, is this planning along with Seneca going to kind of coincide with the school opening in August of 26? I just
Yeah.
want to make sure we're not creating a traffic issue.
That's the goal. We are targeting the north side first so that they're looped through Tanner Trail and I don't know the other road, but Chisholm Trail and Raggy Wheel, whatever. That will loop through the roundabout. All of that north of the bridge that's the target one to be done well ahead of the school, and then target the south. Along with that, we've got Evergy relocation, Kansas Gas relocations, coordination. We've had plenty of meetings with the school developers, the engineer, SEH for other subdivision in that area. So we've been on plenty of calls. We try a lot of parties involved, so just keeping everybody involved.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you. Thank you. Bailey? Clint?
Good evening again. Just a quick update. It's taken a little bit longer than we were expecting, but we are now fully integrated and using People's Bank and Trust. I thought this was going to probably be closer to 4 to 6 weeks ago, but we had several small hiccups on the way, getting our accounting system to talk to the bank and all that kind of stuff. So we are now fully going. There was a director's meeting last Friday in Mays, and we were all openly talking about reserves and what we're doing with it. And I kind of gave a brief update on what we're now doing. And at least one city's now reached out to me wanting to talk to people because we've kind of gone from behind the curve a little bit to ahead, and other cities are now interested in what is Intrafi and how are you getting these rates in that contract. So I think we're in a great situation. We're getting the exact rates that they wanted us in the contracts, and everything's now working smoothly. So I just wanted to give you an update. It took longer than we thought. It was probably a little more difficult than I expected, but I think it's going to be
Yeah. Christie? Brett? Wow.
That's like twice.
We're on the staff report.
It's because he was gone last time.
I don't have anything except I'm glad to see that those work crews, those street guys are getting after it. Ashes, looks like it's twice as wide as it was, but it's good to see it going to be resurfaced. Third Street looks good. They're continuing to work south. I've driven down there a couple of times. One of those guys that drive in the parking lot, turn around and drive back. Just want to see what the work's going on down there. As long as there's people down there working, I don't care. So, but you're doing a good job. I appreciate all the stuff you guys do too. So that's all I've got. Ron.
I only have one thing to thank Public Works for putting in the sidewalk. That a lot of mountain so far. especially the bike riders. Got 3 young ladies. But they are very nice. They are really.
Robert?
I have nothing, Mayor.
Clint?
I'll keep this brief. Many of you know that I'll be, or some of you may know, I'll be moving at the end of May, making a career choice or a career change, I should say, and going the new career choice. It's kind of a dream I've had. It's not how I planned it happening. Not tuck and tell or anything like that, but it was difficult to make that decision. And so I will have 2 meetings left. I won't be at the next one, which is when I was going to kind of say it, but my daughter has soccer, so I'll miss the first meeting in May, but the second meeting in May will be my last meeting. So it will be sad, but I'll have more to say at that meeting.
Oh, man.
Go ahead. I have nothing. Thank you.
Dina?
Just echo, come to the farmer's market May 1st.
Dale?
I have nothing, thank you.
Chris?
I have nothing, thank you.
Matt?
I just want to make a correction to an article the Ark Valley News posted after our meeting, April 3rd. It stated that Mayor Jett Truman was the only one not at the meeting. It was actually Mayor Jett Truman and Councilman Kerstetter were not. People read the news thinking they're going to get correct stuff. I just wanted to put that out there. With that, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say for raising your right hand. All opposed? Meeting adjourned.